Jimin, a member of the phenomenal boy group BTS, suddenly came into the public spotlight after shocking news about his involvement in a controversial situation circulated widely on social media. What exactly happened? Why did Jungkook, a groupmate who was known to be quiet, finally open his voice with an emotional tone? This situation not only shocked fans, but also sparked great concern among the South Korean entertainment industry. Less than a week after his stunning appearance on a national television show, Jimin was suddenly hit with serious accusations that could potentially damage his reputation and career. The allegations, although not yet fully confirmed by the agency HYB Labels, have sparked a massive conversation on various online platforms. The emergence of pieces of video, comments from third parties who have not been identified, as well as increasingly wild speculation, make this issue grow quickly without control. An internal source who declined to be named revealed that Jimin is currently under heavy pressure. He hardly spoke. His cell phone has been switched off since yesterday. "We are very worried," the source told local media. This condition triggered anxiety among other BTS members, especially Jungkook, who is known to be very close emotionally to Jimin. It didn't take long. Jungkook finally broke the silence. In a short live broadcast on the Weverse platform, he expressed his annoyance and disappointment at those who, in his opinion, deliberately exaggerate the circumstances without regard to one's mental state. Jungkook's most famous line was, "You only see what you want to see. But do you know what he's going through right now?" Jungkook's voice sounded trembling, and his expression was full of pressure. The remark made the army as BTS fans are called immediately move. Support poured in from fans around the world, but not a few demanded further clarification from the agency. This situation shows how fragile an artist's position is in the midst of high public expectations and a constantly pressing industry. HYB Labels, as the agency that oversees BTS, finally released an official statement. They mentioned that Jimin is on a state of rest for mental health reasons and asked the public to respect the privacy of their artist. However, the statement did not address the specific allegations circulating, which only made the rumors even wilder. Some local media speculated that the issue was related to private contract agreements, violations of cooperation agreements, to potential involvement in internal conflicts that have not been disclosed to the public. Interestingly, a number of K-pop industry analysts mentioned that the pressure experienced by BTS members, especially since they decided to focus on their respective solo activities, played a role in shaping this kind of crisis. Popularity is like two blades. Jimin is a global star, but he is also an ordinary human being. When he stumbles a little, the effect can be huge, said Han Seo-jin, an observer of Korean pop culture. This development reflects the harsh reality of South Korea's highly competitive entertainment world and leaves no room for error, no matter how small. For Jimin, who is known to be very perfectionist and dedicated, this situation could be an emotional turning point in his career. Moreover, the pressure to continue to maintain a perfect image seems to be a burden for every idol who lives under constant spotlight. Returning to Jungkook, his vocal stance in this case reflects a more complex internal dynamic. Many people consider that his defense is not just a solidarity between the members of the group, but also a signal that BTS is facing difficult times collectively. This is not the first time BTS members have been involved in controversial issues that require quick and proper handling. As a much-loved public figure, Jimin had a great influence. So it's no wonder that this situation has sparked concern not only from fans, but also from global brands that have made Jimin their ambassador. Some of them are even reported to have temporarily suspended promotional activities until the situation becomes clearer. In the midst of this turmoil, fans demanded transparency on the part of the agency and clarity from Jimin himself. However, many also voiced the importance of giving artists time and space to recover mentally and emotionally. The spotlight on the mental health of K-pop idols has received increasing attention in recent years, especially after a number of tragic cases that rocked the Korean entertainment industry. Now, the public is waiting. Will Jimin return to appear in public to give a direct explanation? Will the agency reveal the truth that has been tightly closed? group, able to weather this storm and come out stronger? One thing is for sure, this crisis has shown that behind the glitter of the stage and fame, stars like Jimin are still human beings who can be hurt, depressed, and in need of protection. And Jungkook's voice, which is usually quiet, is now a symbol of the deep concern of a friend who does not want to be silent to see his partner fall. However, let's stop for a moment and ask, is all this really happening? Is Jimin really in big trouble, or are we being led to believe a narrative that is not necessarily based? Amid the torrent of digital information from TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, to online forums that shape public opinion in seconds, how many of us actually sift through the information before swallowing it whole? Are we witnessing a real drama, or is it just a scenario played out to garner media attention? Every time a story explodes in cyberspace, there are always two sides that we need to examine in depth, the visible side, and the hidden side. When someone like Jimin, who has always been known for his positive and clean image, is suddenly dragged into a whirlpool of big issues, the question that must come to our minds is, who benefits from this mess? Is this a form of media manipulation, or is it the bitter reality of the entertainment industry that does not give pause to breathe? Many netizens have already concocted their own conspiracy theories that this may be just a distraction from a bigger issue, or even a covert marketing strategy ahead of the release of a new solo work. Is it possible? Sure. But does that mean we have to believe it right away? Not necessarily. Point one fact we all have to admit together: we live in an era where virality spreads faster than truth. One 5-second clip on TikTok can shape the perception of millions of people in an instant. One emotional tweet from a celebrity like Jungkook can ignite a collective emotional fire that leads to tremendous public pressure either on the victim or the perpetrator, or even both at once. The question is, what are we looking for from all this? Do we really want to know the truth, or do we simply enjoy the thrill that public figure drama brings? Is our support for Jimin sincere and rational, or just a form of impulsive reaction driven by a viral narrative? Furthermore, did we ever consider that Jungkook, while speaking in that live broadcast, might have been trying to drown out something bigger? Is his speech a form of resistance to the narrative built by the media, or is it part of a communication strategy that has been carefully prepared? Who knows for sure? We as audiences, fans, or even neutral observers, have a moral responsibility not to participate in spreading unverified information. Especially if the information has the potential to damage a person's good name and mental health. It's important to realize that your clicks, retweets, or shares can have a big impact, both for the individuals involved and for our credibility as a digital society. Therefore, we invite you to ask, have I verified this information before sharing it? Is this news source reliable? Is it possible that I am being manipulated by a unilaterally formed narrative? Do I support or damage someone just because I see a snippet of a video and read other netizens' comments? Because admittedly, most of the information currently circulating about Jimin and Jungkook comes from social media, which is often speculative, biased, not infrequently even engineered. Some YouTube and TikTok content composes narratives with dramatic music, twisted pieces of video, and groundless opinions. This is not only misleading, but also dangerous. Because if we are not careful, we can become part of a hoax-spreading machine that damages the reputation of someone who may be completely innocent. Back to the main narrative. If it is true that Jimin is under pressure because of a mistake he made, then our attitude should focus on healing, not judgment. But if it turns out that this is just an exaggerated or even deliberately concocted issue, then we should ask, why are the public and the media so easily moved by stories like this? Who is actually controlling the narrative? And how long will we be passive consumers of this kind of information? We do not mean to imply that this news is entirely false or entirely true.